Okay. All right, everybody, welcome. This is our second week here for geography. So hopefully you're kind of understand the course a little bit, see how we do it each week, and try to keep it nice and chill, very understandable, and kind of go through there. So this week, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be talking about natural disasters. Let's see here. Just so you know, this is being recorded for learning purposes, and then also expectation for the class. Make sure you're following along with the Nearpod lesson. I did put that just in the chat there. Love to have everybody jump on if you can. If you can't, just make sure you're watching and respond in the chat box. Make sure you are responding respectfully and appropriately, and then also responding to questions the first time so we keep a nice flow going. All right, before I get into this, let's just kind of go over things. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay. All right, so this week, as you can see here, I love how all teachers are supposed to be starting to do this, putting their announcements. But today, as you can see, we have a live class. If you missed the live class, you can hit the recording. This week, we have lesson 2 assignment that is assigned, and that will be due on Friday, September 1st. If you missed last week, you can see the pre-test and the lesson 1 quiz were due. And what you can do is, well, there's a couple things if you want to know what's going to happen in the future. If you want to jump ahead or something like that, go to plan. As you can see here, today we'll have the, oh wait, that's a lesson 1 quiz. Where are we at here? I'm a little lost now. I made it bigger and now I can't see very good. Let's back off a bit. Okay, so live class, we'll have lesson 1 quiz due there. Oh, these are kind of messed up. I'm sorry. That should be up there. Apologize. Okay, so if you haven't done lesson 1 quiz, it was due on Friday. Let me just kind of change that around. No worries. I won't mark you wrong just because I put it wrong on the calendar here. But next week we have no school, but I will be sending out a recording, okay? So just look for that on the course announcements right here. Okay, it'll say, just show class recording. Click on it, watch that. You'll be able to get the content, and then that will be due on the coming Friday, okay? All right, so as we look at Unit 2 here, we did the introduction to geography. Right now, Unit 2 is going over natural disasters. And your assignment, which I'm going to kind of go over how to do that process, as you can see, it's right here. You got to write some, it says 75 words. So write some things there. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. If you didn't get good on the first quiz, you can redo it until you get the score you want to get. I got it set up that way. So no worries there. Okay, so let's run into this. So in lesson 2, given an exit ticket form, which is going to be right here, you can get that in Unit 2. Boom, just hit that like that. You're going to choose a natural disaster to research and determine how it affected the environment and the people and everybody around it, right? So for example, if you remember, if we go back to last week, how we talked about the 5 themes of geography, the one was human environment interaction, right? So how does the world affect us? Like there was some thunderstorms and stuff like that, at least where I was, and that affected me. Like I probably didn't go outside as much. I stayed inside. Also, if I did go out, I wore a rain jacket. It made things muddy. That affected me, right? Natural disasters, they affect you a lot more. And so that's what we're going to kind of go over today. Let's see how this loads. Okay, so I want you to put in here, if you're not on the Nearpod, just type in the chat, what is a natural disaster? What would be your definition of a natural disaster? Your definition of a natural disaster. Okay, big stuff. Okay. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit big stuff, but yeah, things that happen there. Things that happen to the world, I'm thinking, right? Bad things. Okay, they do change the earth. Okay. An event caused through nature that can be drastic or harmful. Okay. A disaster caused by nature, a natural occurrence event that is usually a massive danger. Okay. Violent change from nature, something that happens naturally that causes chaos or wreckage to place or things. Big stuff. It causes plates and nature in a very dangerous, like it's a disaster. Okay, a hurricane would be an example. Good. Natural is made of things that act differently or do something differently to the effect in the area. Natural phenomena that negatively affects the area it hits. An event that happens on Earth. Deadly situations, definitely. Okay, let me see here in our chat here. Something that people cannot control or predict because it's something we did not do. Okay. Things that will damage the world. Wouldn't be able to make it. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot of things, and it really affects humans, right? These natural disasters. So basically, as we go through it, the world, it's always changing. There's things. So natural disasters are changes that are so great that they may cause damage to the shape of the land or the people that live or things that live there. Okay. Somebody says it kills people and the animals. Yep. Great change happens deep within inside the Earth's surface, also on the outer planet, and it happens usually kind of because of weather in a way sometimes, but it could be because of volcanic eruptions. So some examples, right? Uh, so some examples are volcanic eruption, earthquake, cyclone, or a hurricane, kind of the same thing. Avalanche, flood, drought, forest fire, bushfire, all these kind of things. There's even more ones like around here. I guess it kind of depends on where you live. Like in Utah, in the winter, we're more worried about avalanches, right? And stuff like that. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to watch a little bit, just a quick video. It's only a minute long, but it kind of goes over some natural disasters that have happened and what people are kind of doing because it's really interesting. I like this subject.
Natural disasters are part of the way the planet works. In the ideal world, we would all live in places that aren't affected by natural hazards. We wouldn't live near coastlines. We wouldn't live along the San Andreas Fault in California. We wouldn't live underneath the volcanoes in the Pacific Northwest. But we live where our homes are. I mean, those are the places that are important to us. And then there are many people that don't have choices. The museum is presenting this exhibit to describe these events to people so they have a better understanding of earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, hurricanes, and tornadoes.
All right. So I got a question for you real quick as we're watching this. Which of the 4 natural disasters just mentioned is the most relevant while living in Utah? I wouldn't do some groupthink, guys. I'm not sure those first ones are right. E, no answer. No. Okay, somebody put in the chat there the right one. Okay, we're starting to get to the right one. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why somebody put hurricanes in Utah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, guys. So earthquakes would be the most prevalent, right? Because we live right, those that live in northern Utah, let me just clarify because we're all throughout Utah. We're right, the Wasatch Front's right on a fault line, okay? So if anything were to happen big, natural disaster, it would be an earthquake. Okay, let's continue on.
But more than that, to begin thinking about the risks associated with them. As climate warms, we expect there to be more severe storms, more severe droughts, more wildfires, and to some extent, over the last decade, we've seen just that. There's no way we're going to avoid the natural hazards on a dynamic Earth, but there are certainly ways that we can learn to live with it to mitigate the risks to society.
All right. So we are always constantly being bothered by these different natural disasters that are coming in. So I'm just going to run through a couple of them. And what I want you to do is kind of think about a natural disaster that interests you because you need to research a particular natural disaster. You get to choose what it is, and then you need to just hop in Google real quick or Yahoo or whatever you use and research something that's happened just recently. Or you could just type in natural disasters, right? And find one that something that's going on right now. They happen almost on a daily occurrence. So volcanoes, we know how those work. Okay, you could look at earthquakes. As I said, that would be probably the most prevalent, even though we haven't had a big earthquake in a long time, but we've had little ones. I remember it was like probably 3 years ago. Just walking outside the gym and the whole building started to shake, right? Found out there was a fairly decent size earthquake that happened that we could feel in Utah. Cyclone, hurricane, or tornado. I believe a hurricane was just barely headed towards California and did some damage. Is the first time in a long time that has happened. Okay. Avalanches, that's something that we see here in the winter quite a bit. And those happen, and they're disasters to some people that are skiing or out there. Usually most ski resorts and stuff like that make sure that those don't happen in the resort, but something you could research if you'd like to. Flooding, there's a lot of flooding. But then there's also the opposite of that, drought, right? Um, you may not think of drought as like really a natural disaster, but it is if it's devastating the people and the landscape and stuff like that. So it's not something that happens all at once, but it's a long-term effect of not having water in a certain location can really cause areas. Or, as we talked about, too much water. I mean, they said Utah was in a drought, and then this last year we had a whole bunch. Now the reservoirs are fairly full. I've had tons of water this year, but we could be in flooding, and we were in drought before, so it's kind of interesting. Forest or brush fires. I don't know if you've heard about the devastation that's happened in Maui not too long ago. Actually, I know some people that were in that situation and they barely made it out with their lives. So really kind of scary there. So something you could research. Okay, just to let you know how prevalent these are. In the first like 4 months of 2020, we had a ton of natural disasters. I know it's 2023, it was 3 years ago, but still, at the same time, you'll see how much went on. And this is a little bit of a video, but it will give you some details. And as you're thinking, right, because the whole part of this lesson is for you to think of a natural disaster that you want to research and be able to research it. Okay, so here we go. Let's watch this real quick.
Okay, I'm just trying to check the intensity or the speed of the wind, and I'm applying full strength to try and open this. It's a bit hard. Oh God.
All right. As you can see, there's a lot that happens just in like a couple months, right? We're kind of only worried about what's happening here where we live, but there are natural disasters that are happening all the time. Just so those that have video lag and stuff like that, you are more than welcome to just watch the video through the Nearpod link, and that would help you better, so you don't get the lagging that you're causing. Okay. All right. What is the most recent natural disaster you remember hearing about? So if you just heard something happening, what's happened recently that you remember? Okay, so flooding in Florida. Hurricane Katrina. Yeah, that was a while ago, but yeah, you're right. I mean, that was a big disaster. The fires in Hawaii. Yep, that was big. The Hawaii fire, flooding. That was really devastating, that Hawaii fire. I've heard stories that were just, oh, sadden me. Fire in Maui, yep, in Hawaii. Yep. Canada has a ton of fires right now too. And it all depends upon the seasons of the year, right? What's kind of happening in each of those areas. So hopefully you guys have thought a little bit about what to do. So what you need to do is for your assignment this week, you're going to go into Unit 2. We're going to go to the Lesson 2 assignment. You're going to click on it, and it's going to open up this. So you got to choose a natural disaster to research. So hopefully we went over enough, or maybe something like a mudslide or something like that we didn't talk about. More than happy. Just do it. Okay. The natural disaster you chose above, in what country did this natural disaster most recently occur? Okay. So you'd want to kind of see when it happened, just kind of talk a little bit about that, what you're researching. And then in 75 words, you need to kind of write what the natural disaster did to the environment and to kind of the people, right? Okay. Somebody says, let me look at the chat. I apologize. A small earthquake happened here, but it was not recent. Yeah, it happened. Yeah, that's fine. If you want to do one back in 2018, you can research that. It says page not found when I go to it. What is saying page not found? I'm just kind of wondering there. So just kind of find a natural disaster that you're willing to do. Just write about it, research it a little bit, and go from there. When you go to the assignment, you're going to have to refresh your page because is anybody else having issues? I mean, all you got to do is click on it and mine goes right there. I could go to it. So maybe refresh. It might be your internet, something like that. Okay, so that is what is due this week. It's due on Friday. And that's our class today. Okay, so do you guys have any questions on what we need to do, what you need to cover this week? I feel like it's